You can get various types of speaking questions for IELTS, so it's important to understand how to reply to them properly. This lesson is particularly important if you are at a lower level of English, as those with weaker speaking skills often show that they've misunderstood the question when they give their answer. Giving the wrong answer could also come from not concentrating properly. This could be due to nerves, so you miss exactly what the examiner has asked, so you have to listen carefully. Take a look at this example question. So the IELTS examiner asks, how important do you think it is to learn English language? And the candidate answers, oh, I really like learning English. I think it will really help with my career. So this candidate has shown that they did not listen properly or simply misunderstood the question, because they should have explained how important it is to learn English. So these are the kind of answers that would be expected. You might say it's very important because I want to go and study abroad, or it's extremely important, fairly important, quite important, you can give the reasons, or perhaps you don't think it's very important for some reason. So in this case, it's an adverb of degree that would be expected, as they commonly follow how questions that ask for an opinion about something. That is not to say that there are not other possibilities, but this directly answers the question, unlike the other response, which was correct. So let's look at some other examples of some questions you might get. For example, how important is learning English? How often do you learn English? How do you learn English? And if you look on the right, can you work out which one's answers, which type of answer, what you would need to say, would answer the question on the left? So for example, we saw how important is learning English to you is giving an opinion about something. So for example, it's very important for me to learn English because I'm going to study abroad. So have a look at these and try and link up the other ones. So if you're asked how often do you learn English, which one does that link with? Well, that is the frequency of something. So for example, I learn English every day. How do you learn English? Well, that's connected to methods or procedures. So for example, I learn English through using books and going to classes. Would you rather learn English or learn French? That one's asking about preferences. So for example, I'd much prefer to learn English, and give your reasons why. What kind of teachers do you like? That's asking about types. So I like teachers that are interesting, or I like teachers that are very animated. When do you learn English? That's date or time. Where do you learn English? That's about places. So I learn English at home, or I learn English at a language school near me. Why do you learn English? That's about reasons. So I learn it because I'm going to study abroad. That's linked similar to the first one. Or who do you learn English with? That's asking about persons or an institution. So you need to think about these so you make sure you're answering the question correctly. So let's look at some examples of types of speaking questions for IELTS that will illustrate these types of question stems we've looked at. So this is examples on the topic of food. So how important is having breakfast to you? Not very important really. I often miss it as I never feel hungry when I first wake up. Lunch is often the first meal of the day for me. About preference, would you rather eat out or eat at home? I prefer to eat in as I like home cooked food. And you know for sure what is in the ingredients, whereas at a restaurant you can never be sure what is in the food and whether it's healthy or not. How often do you eat out? About once or twice a week. Mostly I eat in because I get back from work late and don't have time to get to a restaurant. What kind of restaurants do you like to go to if you eat out? Usually it is small family-run places, so it's giving types. They have a better atmosphere than those big chains, and often the price is more reasonable too. You can also get to know the owner, which is nice. When did you last go to a restaurant? So obviously you're giving a date or time, so it's probably about a week ago. And they explained that it was last weekend when they went. Where is the best place to shop for groceries? I think the supermarkets are good to get cheap food, such as everyday items like tin food and toiletries, but local stores are better for meat and vegetables because they're always fresh. So talking about places. How do you get to the shops when you go for food? I usually go by car, but occasionally by bike if the weather is okay. Why do you think there was a problem with obesity in many countries? So it's asking about reasons. So I think it's principally to do with diet and time. People don't have a lot of time, so they eat fast food. The lack of time also means that people don't do enough exercise. Who should be dealing with obesity? The government should do something, such as making producers label food packaging clearly, but individuals also have to take responsibility for their own weight and lifestyle. So these examples aren't exactly, you don't have to use those exact phrases, but it's just telling you that you need to listen carefully and make sure you're giving the correct responses to exactly what the examiner is asking. That will help you get a better score and not bring your score down. So now, as a follow-up activity, you could try your own Part 1 speaking questions for IELTS and practice them with a partner. And go to the IELTS Buddy for more examples of different speaking topics and questions and answers.